everyone, and welcome to another weekly check-in vlog where I take you along for the weekend to see how I'm doing and what I'm reading. My name is Wiebke. This year I'm trying to get myself out of survival mode. I'm not doing so well at the moment, but more about that later. First, I need to go running. I'm still following the training plan I got after the performance analysis, and I'm in week 9 already. Can you believe that? I've been doing that for 9 weeks and sticking to it. So that's very good. What's not so good is that it's rather cold today and I need to run 12 kilometers very, very slow. So I'm looking at almost 2 hours running probably. I think I can do it. I think I don't want to because it's cold, but it might get warmer and then I'm not sure if I chose the right clothes. Complicated. I also thought about getting myself one of those fancy running vests that are very popular right now so that I have more storage space, especially in summer for those long runs, because the belt I'm currently using only stores my phone and 1 water bottle, which for 12 kilometers when it's sunny and warm is maybe not enough. But apparently everyone else had the same idea and all the vests in my size are sold. You can get like large, I think, still. Everything else is sold out where I looked. So maybe I'm lucky in a week or 2 that they come back in stock. Who knows? What am I listening to on this long run? The Last Fee Hunter still. I am halfway through the book, which means on 1.8 speed as I'm listening to 3 hours left. And I want to finish it this weekend because it's getting a little bit tedious. The Last Fee Hunter started off rather well. We followed the Fee Hunter X, and he's hunting fees, which are, think of hungry ghosts, the little demons that are eating people and live in the forest. We are in a place or in a country that has a king, and there also has been an uprising in the past that has been brutally suppressed by the king. And I'm not really sure where we are, what the kingdom has. It's very side snippets that we get about the place we are. We know that the fee hunter is going on a regular route to visit the same places on a yearly basis. There's a community of fee hunters and he's heading out to meet them again to pay some probably membership fees and things like that. And we also know that there are cities and rural places, and as it often is, we have that modernity is creeping into the rural places and the magic and the demon belief and whatever is probably more in the rural places and more necessary and in use there than in the city places. That's what I gathered from the information that came along on the site. Now in the beginning it was really action-packed. We met the fee hunter while he was hunting one of his prey or one of the fee that was killing people in the village, and things progressed from there. And at the village, some trouble came along. I gather the fee hunters are not the most respected or cherished. They need them, but once they got from them what they wanted, meaning that fee, they are reluctant to pay them and show them any respect. So there is that going on, but also in the village, the fee hunter meets a woman who needs to go to a place where he's also going. So next on his route is a visit at the witch's place, and the woman needs to go to the witch as well. So he reluctantly agrees to take her along because it's going into dark and magic places. And now they travel together. As it turns out, the woman is followed by sorcerers and soldiers from the king for reasons I'm not going to tell you, you can find out. And so things progress. And there's the thing where it gets a little bit boring and tedious. So in the beginning, all the magic and all the creatures and the world was interesting. Also, when they met and when they started to travel together and their interactions were interesting. But now I feel a lot of the things that the woman says is kind of vague, and it kind of feels like she's opposing what she said in the beginning. And there's some kind of romance budding, but a lot of the things, how they are done, are awkward. And that's what's the tedious part. It's not that I'm against them starting a romance. You kind of expect that when you read a story about a man and a woman and they meet in the beginning, at some point you expect them to get together. I didn't read what the book is about, as usual. I forgot. And now we're just traveling and going places, but I'm not really sure where we're heading at the moment and why. And the aspect of fee hunting, which I thought would be more, is kind of in the background and non-existent. He had this huge demon that he was craving to slaughter and defeat, and it happened already halfway through and in a very unexciting way. And I thought that was his big quest where he's going for. But that was just, oh yeah, I did that now. And it's, everything is a little bit lackluster at the moment. And I've been lacking focus a lot this week, so I haven't been listening much in recent days. So hoping that if I can spend the long run fully focused on this, I will get back into it and it will be more fun again. I'll tell you about that once I'm back, but now I have to go out into the cold and hope that I can do the 12K. Okay, let's see if we can do this without a lot of rambling. Back from my running, I had breakfast, coffee, and updated my weekly list of what I'm doing and how I'm doing. So how am I doing? Not so well. I said I wanted to get myself out of survival mode this year. A huge part of that is energy levels. I'm very low on energy and I'm barely functioning. And last week you already heard me mention that I was kind of sad a lot, and that was because of setbacks. I had a huge setback last week that was very disappointing and had me questioning what I'm doing. So, some background. I joined a gym again last year, November. The main idea for me joining the gym was that I first get access to a sauna. Second, that I go out among people more. And the plan to do that was to go to classes and have more fun in the area with people without actually having to socially interact. But the secondhand passive social interactions of gym classes where you have maybe a conversation with the other people, but it's not like exhausting meeting and making new friends, because I don't think I have the energy for that. What I didn't expect or anticipate was that I struggled going. So I had to overcome a lot of social anxiety for going to the gym in the first place. Now, I don't like to use the machine park that's in gyms. So I don't like waiting. I don't like other people waiting for me to get off a machine, and I don't like repetitions in like doing the same machine 3 times in a row. So those things don't work for me. That's why I was looking at classes. But going to classes was so stressful, I didn't manage for months. So I had to do something else. And the gym does have a body circuit thing. So they have 8 machines where you can log in with your card, and then you are guided from one machine to the next, and you can easily change the weights, and it also remembers your settings. So it's low effort, and that was really good. So I was expecting to get a lot out of it because you're training muscle, but you didn't have to use any brain effort and mental energy to go and do that. So that's what I did for the first few weeks, only going 2 to 3 times a week, using that circuit and allowing myself sauna afterwards because it was winter and it was cold, and that was good. So after a few weeks of that, I managed to try a few courses, and I'm not so good at going to the classes because they are later than I expected. And my original idea was that I just add the classes onto my normal exercise regime. But that didn't work with my energy levels either. So I replaced my morning exercise with going to the gym in the afternoon. And I thought that was okay. A few weeks back, I started using the functional training area, it's called in the gym, where you have free weights, some other machines or gadgets that you can use where you can build your workout without using like the weightlifting machines and the machine park, as I usually call it. And getting comfortable there was a challenge as well. But after a few weeks, I did my routine of the exercises that I put myself together, and I thought I was doing well. So come last week. In this gym, you have the option of getting a body scan every 6 months. So I had one when I started where your body is scanned for weight, water, blah, and the interesting part is muscle mass, meaning how many muscles your arms, legs, and torso has, and also visceral fat. Yeah, the toxic fat that lives between your organs that is not visible otherwise. And so when I started, my torso was dark red, which meant no muscle, really needs to be worked on. And I thought I was doing that. Also, visceral fat, not too bad, but some kilos. And I thought, okay, let's do something about that. So in November, I stopped eating chocolate for a while completely, and then now I'm just eating less than I used to. So it's drastically reduced because chocolate is the most likely part responsible in my diet for the visceral fat. And I thought that the circuit and also the other exercises that I was doing were targeting my torso. So when I had the body scan again last week, and nothing had changed, literally nothing. No improvement on any muscle parts, no improvement on the visceral fat, no improvement on the torso. I was utterly crushed. I was so disappointed and frustrated. I really didn't like that. It had me question everything that I was doing, everything I thought I was doing right, and also really disliking me joining the gym. So for a few days, I really struggled and argued with myself whether that was worth it, whether it's worth keeping going. I mean, I have to pay for another 6 months before I can get out of the contract. I signed up for 1 year, and after that, I can cancel on a monthly basis. So I need to stay at least till November, which would give me the option of getting another body scan to see if it's worth it. So, and definitely what I decided and thought about a lot this week is what I can change. I didn't work this week. I was off work and I had expected to do a lot of things. I didn't. But what I did was definitely recreate the exercises and the plans for the gym. So I'm still planning on 2 days at the gym for this functional training area. I'm going to stop using the body circuit, even though it's very simple and good for my brain to just not have to think and know what I'm doing. But it's not effective. So why would I continue doing that? So I made myself 2 different workouts that I can do on Wednesdays and Friday afternoons at the functional training area. It's mostly targeting back muscles and in general my torso or my core muscles. So I'm hoping to improve on that. And yeah, that's the plan for that. I'm also hoping maybe to add 1 class or course in the week. Not too optimistic for that, but I used to go to a Zumba class on Sundays, but often on Sundays I'm away or meeting friends. So that's why I don't want to say that has top priority. It's good when I have time and energy to go. It's a fun class, but it's not a must-go class for me. So that's the exercise part. What also was frustrating, that due to the visceral fat, most likely coming from the amount of chocolate I was eating in the recent years, I drastically reduced that. And that's why that was so frustrating, because there was no difference. You always hear these stories of people cutting out sugars, eating less, doing this in their diet, and then they see these major results. I don't see results. I barely lost weight, which was not the goal, but the amount of chocolate I cut out of my life should have produced some kind of result, other than me feeling sad sometimes because I don't eat chocolate. Yay, less dopamine. Or is it serotonin what you get from chocolate? Anyways, so I'm not really sure what to do there. I do not want to go back to the levels of chocolate I used to have, but I'm going to be less strict about it and less worried, because if it doesn't have any negative or positive effect on my life, then why should I be so worried about it? Another thing that is really bugging me this week, or rather highlighted something that I thought of new, is my insomnia. Like I said, I wasn't working the whole week and I expected to catch up on a lot of sleep. Instead, I was awake a lot at night. So my insomnia doesn't work well with the 9-to-5 job. Unfortunately, paying bills works perfect with a 9-to-5 job, which leads me to give in. I can't change anything about that. The only hope I'm currently having is that changing teams in about 3 weeks and having different tasks and hopefully more challenging tasks might have a positive impact on how I'm feeling overall about work and after work and in life in general. Because I'm very unfocused. And I think a lot of it has to do with my brain not being challenged at work, where I spend 8 hours of my day. So I'm hoping that being challenged more at work again will have positive effects on my brain outside of work. Also, summer is coming. We all know I'm a summer person. I'm a much better reader outside than I am inside. And I haven't gone to as many coffee shops in recent years because I got out of the habit, and getting back into the habit is a lot harder than I expected. So maybe that will also improve with summer coming along. We'll see about that. But the first changes that I'm hoping to see is changes with the workout, that I will feel better for it and that I will also get a benefit out of doing that and maybe be able to get classes to it at one point. I'm also hoping that the training plan I'm currently following is for 12 weeks. I'm on week 9, as I said this morning, and I don't think that the distance I want to keep at that. I'm looking more to reducing weekend runs to 10 kilometers again. I think in the 12th week we're at 15 kilometers or something. So I don't really want to run that far, but I'm curious to see if the change of how I ran, like interval runs, slow runs, medium-paced runs, really had an effect on that, because I'm going to do a performance analysis afterwards and see if that made a difference, or if that gets a setback as well. Then I'm going to be really frustrated and live on chocolate for the rest of my life. Probably not, but yeah. I'm hoping for that to give me some boost of energy and motivation. I'm also hoping for the job to have an effect on my brain, which will lead me to read more complicated things again. The plan for today when it comes to reading, or for the weekend, is to finish The Blazing World. I'm still reading The Blazing World, with this very literary fiction, and the writing is amazing. The story is not so compelling. I think that is the most problem, that it's basically a non-fiction novel, sort of, following this artist, or rather it's a dissection of the artist after their death and what they wanted to achieve. I'm going to tell you more about the book tomorrow, when I hopefully have read more and am almost finished, because I think I rambled a lot for this section. So the plan for this weekend is to mostly read. Look, I tried really hard to finish The Blazing World on the weekend. Saturday afternoon I read so long until my brain cramped. So I spent the evening watching some Love Next Door. Sunday morning I started the day with reading in bed until I got hungry and got up for breakfast. And then I went on a walk to finish the last Fee Hunter. And the walk was very exhausting. The weather is very humid, and after the cold days and no sunshine in between, I don't know why, I'm sweating, which kind of feels good after waking up completely exhausted. Anyways, the last Fee Hunter. The ending turned out to be much better than I expected. We got a lot more fantasy again. We got a little bit of excitement, action, and a glimpse of a different world. So I would have preferred if this book explored the fantasy parts more and eased up on the romance part. The romance, for most of it, is inconsistent, not really logic, and pretty awkward at some times. So I am also not quite sure if listening to the book made it better or worse. You know how sometimes an audiobook narrator can improve and make the book more, or sometimes less. And it's not that I didn't like the narration, but at sometimes the pronunciation and the emphasis didn't feel like it fitted. You know what I mean? So I'm not sure about that one. Overall, I think it was a good book. It was okay. I enjoyed it. It was a nice escape, but I also think I've listened and read way too many books of these Eastern-inspired, light-hearted romance fantasy books recently. So I need to switch up genres and maybe listen to a non-fiction before I continue with the Stormlight Archive. Who knows? I'm on my way home now, trying to read more in the Blazing World. Sunday afternoon was spent reading as much as I could until I couldn't read anymore and watch some more Love Next Door. Now it's Monday morning and I still have one chapter and about an hour and a half of reading to go. I'm still going to tell you about the book because it's the last chapter. How much is it going to change? So The Blazing World is literary fiction and it reads a lot like non-fiction, which is probably why I struggled so hard. I'm better at listening to non-fiction than reading non-fiction. I keep drifting off and falling asleep when I'm doing that. It's not a judgment on the book or a comment on the content, it's just how my brain apparently works lately. So The Blazing Worlds tells the story of Harriet Burden. Harriet Burden was a female artist and she wasn't very successful. There is her life story. We have snippets from her notebooks, so her diaries. We have commentary from her family and friends, and we also have other excerpts and commentary from the art world. So it's a lot of written statements, a lot of transcripts, and like I said, a lot from Harriet's diaries. The main story we are following is that Harriet believes that if her art was made by a man, it would have been received much better. So she cast some men to act as fronts for some of her exhibitions. That was one big project that she had, and things didn't go according to plan and things went wrong. That's the main gist of the storyline. The book is really fascinating. We get a lot of different voices and you can really hear that it's different people talking. So like I said, we have a lot of people handing in written statements or transcripts, interviews, and things like that. And we have Harriet's diary, and everyone has a singular voice that you can imagine that person really and fully when you read it. And I really enjoyed that. I also really enjoyed the exploration of the role of women, not only in the art world, but in general. We see a lot how women are silenced, put down, not really looked upon or acknowledged the same way that men are, especially in the art world. There is a lot of supporting data, but a lot of experience. And we also see how Harry perceives, or Harriet calls herself Harry most of the time, is perceived by others, but also how she perceives herself. And we get different viewpoints of the same events. And this is very fascinating to see. It's a really good exploration of what it means to be a woman and the little roles and places that society has in stock for us, and also these stock figure roles that women are pushed into. Not only Harriet, but also other women that are mentioned and that we meet, her mother, other female characters. And all of that is really well explored, really well done. And even though it's hard to read because it reads like a non-fiction documentary dissertation about someone, it is really fascinating. I highly recommend it if you are interested at all in the topic. I've never read anything by Siri Hustvedt before, and I'm really impressed. I don't know why I never picked up any of her books. I know I've had them in my hands before, so that's going to change. Definitely need to read more by her. Let me know if you read anything by her that you think I should read next. And also let me know if you have read The Blazing Worlds, or for that matter, The Last Fee Hunter, because this is the end of the vlog. I thank you for watching, sticking around, and let me know in comments how your weekend was. How are you doing? Is everything going okay? Let's talk in comments. Thank you. Bye-bye.